Greetings, friends of Bell Springs United Methodist Church. I hope that your week is going well. The Lord be with you. It was a joy to be with you in Sunday together, our first Sunday together, and I look forward to being with you again this week, this Sunday. I hope that these midweek devotionals are meaningful and helpful to you. My hope is that these devotionals will complement the preaching of the sermons. And you may recall that the sermon series for this month is called A Faithful Beginning for Fruitful Formation. The idea here is that our ability to produce fruit for the kingdom of God flows out of those things that are most central to the formation of our faith. And I believe that the most central things that are formative to our faith and our life together in covenant with God is a faithful teaching and faithful practice. I believe that a faithful teaching is an understanding of the love of God and neighbor, that everything that shapes who we are in our understanding of God flows out of the love of God, the love that God has given to us and our love towards Him and our neighbors. And the faithful demonstration, the faithful practice of our faith is a demonstration of mercy and justice. I use those words interchangeably with hospitality and harmony. I think hospitality is often the result of mercy, and that harmony is also the result of justice, living together in a way that is pleasing to God. So the text for this week is this passage here in Joshua 4, and I want to just point out a couple of things as you read the devotional as well. That this passage points to two of the rituals that are most formative to our teaching and our practice in the Christian life, and those are the sacraments of baptism and communion. Here in this passage we see the people of God crossing the Jordan River, and it reminds us that just as God, through God's mighty acts, made a way for the people of God to enter the promise of God through baptism, God, through only what God could do in His mighty act of salvation, made it possible through baptism for us to enter fully into God's promises. And in communion with Christ, you may notice, you may wonder where I'm getting communion from. Well, if you look in the text, you'll see that the day that the people of God crossed the Jordan, it says was the 10th day of the first month. And that's important because what that day was for the preparation of the Passover. So on this day that God allowed the people, through God's mighty acts, to cross the Jordan into God's promise ahead of them, was the day that they were to begin to prepare for the Passover. And Jesus has become for us the Passover lamb, and at the Lord's Supper gave us the sacrament of communion. So after all this, Joshua commanded the people to set up these stones, these 12 stones, that were to form as a way to teach and to instruct the children, each generation, to remind each generation of what God has done. The most powerful force in the world is God's love. God's love is so mighty. Only God's love has the power to change the human heart. Just think about that for a moment. I want to leave you with this thought. What ways have you experienced the mighty power of God's love in your life? What moments were formative to you? And I want to ask you to hold on to those memories through the telling and the retelling of those stories, that you can give witness to the mighty power of God's love that changed your heart and your life. Maybe it's baptism. Maybe it's communion. Maybe it's a time when you experienced a very difficult trial that you didn't know if you were going to make it or not. Maybe you're going through a trial like that now. I want to encourage you, if you are, to know that God is with you and He loves you, and there is nothing more powerful in the world than the love of God. May the Lord bless you and keep you, and I look forward to seeing you on Sunday. Have a wonderful week.